brutal, bloody, and barbaric. These three words encapsulate everything that Kill Knight is. And like any good Slayer sim, shout out to my boy Doom Guy, this game is so damn addicting. Like, I put it on par with crack, nicotine, or like caffeine. Cause I legit could not put the game down. Which is odd because I usually don't like games like this. You know, games that consist of you dying like 5 million times in order to truly understand how the game works. And goddamn, did I do just that. But with each death came enlightenment, offering a deeper understanding of the game's core systems and the most optimal ways to attack each given scenario. But in the beginning, I did not see it this way. In the beginning, this game drove me absolutely insane. Like, I uninstalled it like 4 times, saying, I'll never play this game again, only to reinstall it the next day like nothing happened. Which leads me to my next point, which is the sheer amount of enjoyment and sense of accomplishment after completing each encounter, let alone a whole level. This game makes you feel like a god as you annihilate wave after wave after wave of monstrosities, brutalizing fodder and boss enemies alike. But the real sense of accomplishment will come when you fully master the art of kill knighting, dancing between hordes of enemies and eliminating them in spectacular fashion. And with this game being so similar to the most recent Doom titles, I think it'll do good at appealing to a broader audience, even if they aren't, fans of twin stick shooters. Therefore, in this video, we'll be speaking on everything, the good, the bad, and where I think the game could improve. So, as per usual, let's start with the story. Hold up. Actually, before we get started, you need to know one thing. This game is not your typical twin stick shooter. This shit is hard. Like, really hard. Like me when my crush walk up on the side of me and brush my shoulder and ask how my day is. Yeah, like that hard. Cause I'ma keep it a buck. This game had me tweaking out like a brawly infused Hulk in a state of perpetual berserker rage. Like, for real, I uninstalled this shit so many times because it was getting me to levels of anger that I hadn't experienced since my For Honor days. And look, I used to main Kensei, so I was out here getting my cheeks busted and combusted.
Busting and
combusting all over your motherfucking face.
Bitch ass nigga.
Letters, numbers, times tables, divisions, algebras.
Busting all over you.
So, believe me when I say, be ready to die. Because it's gonna happen. And it's gonna happen a lot. And the game only gets harder. So please listen to me. Because it's legit the definition of an uphill battle. Well, you want to get technical, it's actually a downhill battle, but I digress. Anyway, due to the game not presenting a narrative in typical fashion, this one's going to be a quick one. So, you play as an individual who was once a loyal and dutiful knight, but due to being betrayed and banished to the abyss, his body was destroyed and reanimated within his armor, cursing him with the title of Kill Knight. And as the Kill Knight, he has only one goal, one burning passion, one all-consuming purpose: to kill the last angel. I bet you're asking yourself, why? Because this asshole is responsible for all the misery he's endured. But in order to complete this task, he'll have to descend through 5 relentless eldritch layers of the abyss, which is a void outside of space-time and reality, consisting of nothing but pain and suffering, fighting through swarms of monsters and horrors beyond imagination. Essentially, the story boils down to a tale of revenge and doing whatever it takes to accomplishment, with the same narrative supporting the reason behind why the combat is so brutal, frenetic, and fast-paced, as well as giving explanation as to why the protagonist can be killed over and over and over again, but somehow come back ready to fight. Now that we're done, explaining the story, let's move on to the real meat and potatoes. Let's talk about the gameplay. Simply put, this shit is downright scrum-diddly-yumptious. Like, the movement, the combat, the build crafting, and level design all fit together like puzzle pieces. Better yet, the game is more like a cake. Now, I know what you're thinking. Ferocious. Bro, are you hungry? Or are you just stupid? Because how the hell does a video game compare to a cake? Well, it's simple. A cake is only made when all the right ingredients are brought together. If you're missing the eggs, the butter, or the milk, it all falls apart. Therefore, a cake is the perfect representation of Kill Knight because each component of the game cannot exist and or function properly without the others. Without build crafting, combat falls apart. Without level design, movement falls apart. And without combat, well, the game would just collapse in on itself. Cakes aside, let's get down to business. Combat is a blend of twin stick shooting and melee action. Your arsenal consists of a primary, melee, and heavy weapon. This includes your armor and special item as well. Your primary weapon, being dual pistols, have infinite ammo, but the trade-off is they have to be reloaded. Now you think this would be a detriment to combat, being that reloading in the middle of an intense dance of death would be the last thing anybody would want to do. But Kill Knight flips this on its head by implementing an active reload mechanic, the very same mechanic pioneered by one of the forefathers of Xbox gaming, Gears of War. Though, unlike Gears of War, active reloading in Kill Knight is multifaceted because some core abilities can only be accessed through the use of it. So, to get the ball rolling, let's start with the pistol. Its active reload bonus is called Special Trigger, which gives a unique attack or modifier based on which weapon you're using. For example, the starting pistol gets an increase to its damage and rate of fire, but then you take a look at this triple shot pistol, which is rewarded with an AoE attack. Also, be mindful that you can fuck this mechanic up, which will result in your reload time being extended, so just watch out for that. Moving on to the game's melee weapon, that being your sword, this thing hits hard but leaves you wide open to get your cheeks busted. It's also your primary source of generating heavy ammo, being that melee kills are the only way to do so. Adding to that, your sword can also parry incoming attacks, often stunning or instantly killing the attacker. And, just like your primary weapon, Sword Triggers is an active reload bonus for melee weapons. This usually consists of a special AoE attack that kills a shitload of enemies and rewards an assload of heavy ammo, sometimes leaving you completely stocked up after. This attack, as well as the counter, contributes the resulting energy to your charge meter. What is the charge meter? Well, it's a gauge that fills as you toss your enemy solid with your melee attacks. When filled, it allows you to activate an ability called Hyperdrive whenever you land a parry. When activated, the enemy is instantly killed, with all surrounding enemies being pushed back as everything enters a brief state of slow-mo, allowing you to swiftly take out damn near every enemy on the screen. But as cool as that sounds, that ain't it, because the charge meter has another trick up its metaphorical sleeve, that trick being your ultimate move, the Sword Surge. This move is the one-all be-all, your weapon of mass destruction, and goddamn does it destroy. On activation, the Kill Knight will pull out his sword and jam it into the ground, causing a giant explosion that drops every enemy on the screen. After which, it'll rain shards across the entire play space for a short while, damaging all enemies they come into contact with. Just be mindful that it does take a nice little minute to charge, and when it finally does, be sure to use it wisely, since majority of the time, you'll only get enough sword charge to do this once. If you're really good, you'll probably get enough to do it twice. And for the final addition to this trio, I present to you the heavy weapon. It never has to reload, but it does run out of ammo. It also comes with two firing modes, regular and alt. See, the regular is your typical high-powered shot or shots, depending on the weapon that you choose. Things get spicy when you dibble and dabble in the alt fire, which quite literally turn your heavy into a weapon of mass destruction, allowing you to easily drop multiple enemies in less than a second, with this firing mode being most effective against heavily armored and high health pool enemies. Though, the main use of the alt fire isn't for killing enemies, it's for generating health. See, your health doesn't regenerate, so you'll need to rely on your heavy weapon to do this. How? Well, this is where resource management comes into play. So, whenever you kill an enemy, they'll drop a blood gem. This blood gem can either be picked up, fueling your kill gauge, or you can absorb them, converting a blood gem into Wraith energy, which in turn powers your heavy weapon's alt fire. Then all you gotta do is kill some enemies with your ult fire and voila, health shards. You see the vision? Good. But the system does go deeper than that, because you'll gain more health shards depending on how many enemies you kill. This also has the added benefit of causing a burst of damage to emit from the target when breaking its armor, killing it as well as the fodder around it, causing even more health shards to drop. In a nutshell, your heavy weapon can easily turn the tide of any situation, no matter how dire the circumstances, and keeping it stocked with ammo should be your top priority, as it's your ace in the hole when shit hits the fan. Executions are also in this game. Not only are they cinematic and extra brutal, but they also provide an absolute assload of resources, dropping a bazillion health shards and blood gems upon completion. Executions also serve as a way to save yourself from deadly situations, because they offer invincibility frames as they're being completed. So you could just full send straight into one of these guys and then use one of those delicious takedowns and just mop up the rest. Jump into the movement related mechanics, we've got the dash ability, which is essential for your crack fuel perpetual motion and to avoid all forms of damage, as it provides invincibility frames when activated. But remember this, those iframes only apply to the start and middle of the dash, so you'll need to ensure that your ending location is safe and secure. Well, as safe as it can be with, 40 million enemies trying to turn your booty hole inside out. So, moving on to our final mechanic, it's quite literally the most important aspect of the game next to the weapons, that being the kill gauge. This thing is pivotal to the flow of combat, and mastering it is essential to getting the most out of each run, as well as increasing your overall destructive potential. It does this by increasing your damage, movement speed, and dash recharge rate for each level of kill gauge you earn, though the gauge will start to decrease if you take damage or fail to collect more blood gems. Now, stepping away from weapons, let's talk about the two other important aspects of your arsenal, that being armor and items. See, every piece of armor comes with a unique perk that'll dictate your entire playstyle, as well as affect things like the amount of dashes you have, how fast you recover said dashes, and the level of protection the armor provides you. Then you've got items. These consist of amulets, memories, and tears. I don't know. The word looks the same. Anyway, each one of these granting a bonus passive that can drastically alter gameplay and create powerful synergies between core gameplay functions and your loadout. My favorite combo being the Haid Surge Armor, which tasks you with collecting health shards to charge an explosive shield. Then I combine that with the Templar's Alexandriate, which increases health gain from health shards. See the synergy? Shit's goated. Essentially, pairing together the perfect armor and item combo can mean a whole world of difference, increasing your destructive capability 10 times over. Moving on to another aspect, let's talk about upgrades and progression. So, when it comes to the progression and upgrading system of Kill Knight, it isn't done in a traditional way you see it in majority of games. There is no upgrade tree or experience needed to progress a player level. Instead, you unlock weapons, armor, and items by completing challenges. Now, on paper, this sounds great, but some of these challenges are ass, okay? Do you know the saying, a hero is only as strong as the enemies he defeats? If you don't, go read a book. But if you do, then you know exactly what I mean when I say the Kill Knight must be a god, because these enemies ain't no joke. These enemies are hyper aggressive, and I firmly believe they chase you around the world and back, because they're on your ass every second of every run. Them boys that have you feeling like Chip Skylark from Fairly Odd Parents. But one thing I love about this game is how every enemy type serves a specific function that contributes to the combat loop. What do I mean? Let me break it down. First up, you've got your standard fodder. These monstrosities come in two forms, melee and range. Melee ones being the douchebags who will be swarming you 24/7, while the ranged ones sit back, take pot shots at you from a distance, forcing you to be more concerned with managing your positioning and utilizing your dash effectively, as well as being your primary source of blood gems, fueling all your combat abilities. Now we're going to step it up a notch with our new challenger, that being the elites. These niggas are annoying, and they will bust your cheeks wide open if you are careful, because their attacks hit hard. Just look at this dude, looking like a distant, demonized relatives of Katana Man from Chainsaw Man, or this demon fairy baddie with cheeks for weeks. But what makes them special is that countering their attacks require you to be precise when dodging or parrying. Not only that, but they open up opportunities for you to utilize your hyperdrive, which is actually the second strongest intrinsic ability in the game. Then you've got your armored up guys and the thicky boys. Not gonna lie, the drip is nefarious. Just look at how they glisten. It's beautiful. Anyway, these enemies are pretty straightforward in that they simply incentivize you to use your heavy weapons to dispatch them quickly, in which you'll be rewarded with an absolute assload of resources. Plus, they serve as health pinatas, offering the most shards when defeated with your heavy weapons ult. Now, there is a final enemy type, but I'll let you discover that one for yourself. What I can say is that each enemy in this category is unique in design, function, and lethality. So keep your head on a swivel and your butt puckered. But you know, enemies aren't the only thing you'll have to worry about, because the environments are just as hostile. Lasers, floor spikes, exploding obelisks, and spitting pillars of death. These areas are out to bust your cheeks right along with the enemies. They also change every time you complete a section, sometimes transforming into the wildest shit I've ever seen. Just look at this. Though it isn't all bad, because some traps can be used to your advantage. Mastering your surroundings is a crucial component in the machine that is your survival. Damn, that sounded good. I'm gonna have to use that in another video. These maps aren't all, spikes and death traps, because each one is beautiful in its own way, utilizing different color palettes as well as mishmashing a variety of style elements to create what you see in the game. If I had to take a stab at it, I'd say it's a fusion of brutalism due to the harsh, unadorned, and industrial design of the levels, arcade retro minimalism due to the polished and simplistic design of the enemies and protagonists, as well as the rich colors that stand out from the background, violent Zine style due to the slick distress and brutal design of the menus, similar to the look and aesthetic of those Sledge Metal band shirts, and lastly, dark fantasy. This tone is the most prominent art style used in the game next to brutalism. This is due to the traditional fantasy elements being infused with horror and decay, as well as unease, mystery, and existential dread. You see this in literally every aspect of the game, from the weapons and armor to the protagonists and enemies. Dark fantasy is busting at the seams. But since I'm on a roll, let's dig even deeper into the art design of this game. So, each level is broken up into zones, each one being a representation of the Kill Knight's descent through the abyss, from the tippy top straight to the very bottom. It becomes very apparent once you start paying attention to the background. Notice how we progress from buildings to the heart of a horror-filled eldritch plane outside of space and time. Shit, even the platforms do this as well, changing from brick and mortar to pools of blood and guts. You see that brown? You know there's probably a little bit of doo-doo up in there too. Just saying. I hope the Kill Knight suit is sealed, or he got doo-doo all over his socks. He gonna have to change out his socks like they was doing in Vietnam. You know, they talked about that in that Forrest Gump movie. Off topic. Let's get back to it. Traps and hazards become more prevalent as well, appearing on damn near every single platform towards the end. The difficulty plays into this as well, with enemies getting stronger and more grotesque as you progress through the game, matching the same gradual change that each zone has, which, might I add, pairs perfectly, with the art design of the game. Something else that pairs perfectly with this game is the soundtrack. Just listen to this menu music. Heart-pumping, white-knuckle, high-intensity soundtracks that make for the perfect background stimulant for your crack-fueled murderous rampage. God damn, that was a mouthful. Hey, yo, that sounded wild. No diddy. Anyway, it's the kind of music that seamlessly drives the frenetic, high-stakes pace of the game, as well as being essential to the atmosphere as a whole. Me personally, I see it as the perfect representation of the Kill Knight's smoldering rage and utter resentment of his enemies and his current predicament. The sound design is also top tier as well. Weapons sound heavy, melees sound nasty, but my absolute favorites are the hyperdrive activations. And the sword surge. Like the fact that you can feel the weight of these actions through the sound design alone is fucking cool. Y'all know what time it is. So, on to my critiques. While I don't have a lot of them, I still gotta speak my piece nonetheless. So first up, the progression challenges. These things are ass. I'm talking dirty shit stain, haven't washed up in 17 years with moisture still stuck between the cheeks type of ass. In the beginning, you know, they fine. But as you complete more and more, they get worse and worse. Going from something like kill 13 enemies with pistols during a single hyperdrive to complete any layer without failing a single active trigger. Look, that might not sound hard, might sound simple, but in practice, it is absolutely terrible. In with challenges like this one, there isn't a 3-strike element. So you could be at the end of the level, fail an active reload. Well, tough luck, because now you gotta start all the way over. Even then, as annoying as these challenges are, I give them a pass because you're able to pay your way through them by using the currency you earn through just, playing the game. Just keep in mind that these upgrades increase in price as you unlock more of them. So if you decide to stick with, a strict buying them approach to avoid these annoying challenges, then I've got some bad news for you because you earn currency really slow, even at the higher difficulties. So you will be grinding like it's fucking Destiny 2. But hey, money and terrible challenges aside, my biggest annoyance when it comes to Kill Knight is the fucking health shard pickup delay. Essentially, whenever you spawn a health shard, you can't pick it up instantly. Instead, you gotta let it marinate in blood and guts of the monster that you just shot before you can even think about picking the damn thing up. I don't know if it's a bug or by design, but I'm guessing it's by design because they've already dropped the post-content update, I think a couple months ago, and the game been out for more than half a year. But to whoever thought this was a good idea, I want to Batista bomb you straight through 72 tables because your idea has become the bane of my existence. And so have you! Well, that's Kill Knight for you. An extremely polished Doom-like twin-stick shooter with amazing build crafting, dope-ass weapons, crazy-ass enemies, and awesome music with a difficulty that'll leave you rethinking all your life choices, especially that final boss. Fuck you. In this section of the final level, yeah, fuck you too. But just like any other game I've covered on this channel, if you like Doom, then you'll definitely like this game. But if you hate dying a million times, then you probably won't. That being said, I still say that you should give it a chance because at first I hated it, but now it's one of my favorite games of this year. I can definitely see why people enjoy Souls-likes now because the sense of accomplishment that I felt after completing a section, then moving on to complete the entire level felt so damn good. So, if you're on the fence, I say give it a try because it might be one of, if not your favorite game to date. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. I appreciate you for stopping by, and I'll catch you in the next one.